to The Pulse. My name is SF and I'm your host for today. Today's discussion is a great one because we are talking about confidence and how to boost that confidence with a couple of easy mind shifts. I think today is going to be a great one for everyone to listen to who is in the job hunting mind frame. Whether you're looking for a job, whether you're getting ready for an interview, whether you're thinking about your dream job, these are 3 tips that are going to get you through this process confidently and successfully. So let's talk about how you make an impression. So before you even walk in the door, before you even walk into the interview, you want to walk out of the house feeling confident, but you don't want to seem cocky. So there's a fine line there between feeling really confident and good about yourself and feeling cocky, like I'm the best thing around. Lucas, how do you balance the two? Because you're a super confident guy and nowhere near what I would call cocky.
Yes, in fact, SF, I also would assume that for anyone who's listening to this on the way to their interview, this is a great opportunity to really also factor that in as well. So we might have people listening to this on the bus, or on their car on the way to the interview. I think also one thing I do want to stress is just zen out. Don't think about the goal. Think about how you want to achieve it. Just breathe in, breathe out. Just practice the zen kind of thing, because you gotta not overthink it. You just gotta focus on the now, and hopefully you get that position, because the good feeling of getting that job, it feels amazing. How you when they send you either an email or call you back saying we want to hire you, it's the best feeling in the world. So you really want to focus on your not only your physical self, like you have to deal with like your clothing, like how you want to look, but you also have to think mentally too. Because if both go work it well in tandem, you're smooth sailing.
Erin, how do
I
you
would
handle
also say
confidence?
I would also say it helps to be yourself and be honest. With my other job that I did, it's related not just to retail, but also things like video games and such. And like for example, I'm familiar with 1 or 2 types of systems, and there's other systems that are involved with gaming that I don't have the experience or knowledge in. But what's great about with my colleagues is that we have all different kinds of gaming backgrounds and experiences. So if there's something that I may not be able to answer or have the knowledge of, I have other colleagues I can ask to or help me understand it better.
That's so great.
So
So you have an environment of you're able to rely on your coworkers, so you feel confident in that.
yeah, so again, it's a mixture of the people that you work with and your passion towards either to your work or to things related to the job. Like some people are passionate about helping people, or they're passionate about um, the subject of their job. Like for example, someone could be passionate toward advocacy towards certain topics or towards the environment or anything like that. So I'd like to think that that helps as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I want to bring up attire. Okay, so you've all heard the cliche, never address a book by its cover, but then you've also heard that you want to look really presentable and you want to look formal for an interview. And while we can talk about the differences between, what you would wear to an interview on a farm versus what you'd wear to an interview at a law firm, um, rather than getting down to the nitty-gritty of that, I want to draw our listeners' attention to a couple of really important points. And this has to do with knowing yourself and confidence. It's all going to come back to that. So, something that I really want to point out is in order to feel confident, you want to be able to stand up straight, right? That's something that helps. You take a big deep breath in, your shoulders back, chest out, chin parallel to the ground, and you want to make sure that that's the air that you walk in with, and that's how you automatically look confident. You walk into a room, if you make eye contact with someone, smile at them. That's not a big deal, but it makes you look really friendly and really approachable, and that's what employers are looking for. Of course, we don't all want the same style of job, but in order to get the job you want, we have to think about things like attire and how we look. Another tip that I have is to dress sort of monochrome, so in similar colors and shades. So if you were to wear a dark blue set of pants, a really nice set of dark blue pants, you might want to wear a lighter shade of that same hue. So you would wear just a lighter blue, maybe not bright blue, but something in that same family of shades. And that also makes you look taller because you don't have this contrast where people are automatically drawn to your waistline because your top is drastically different from your bottom. That's what people focus on, where if there is no focus there, then you look taller, you look cleaner, and you look like you care about how you look. So another way is, of course, posture. We just talked about that, but a really good way to work on your posture is to exercise. And that also helps with your confidence. If you feel good and you know you look good, you're going to walk into any room going, I feel good. I belong in this room. Whether or not you want to belong in that room, you're going to walk in owning it. Something else that's really important is your hairstyle. Now, guys, I think it's so important to make that impression with your posture, with your attire, with having, clean clothes, with having a clean face, brush your teeth and all that. I think hair is really important too, because when you're going for the job, to get the job you want, you have to have a certain amount of, hey, I really care about the way I look. I put some effort into how I leave the house every day. I put effort into the kind of impression and messaging that I want to get out there. My outfit tells you a lot about me. It's clean, there's no mixed patterns, it's good colors that work together. I feel taller, I've got great posture, I exercise. And this is how I walk into a room feeling confident without feeling cocky, because you're not putting anyone else down. You're just elevating yourself. Luke, what have you got to say on that?
You know, I definitely 100% agree on that because you gotta make yourself feel. You want to feel good about going in for an interview because you want to make sure you're got that gusto. You got that you feel good charisma because sometimes employers will say, "Whoa, this guy's really set up. This guy or gal is very ready to go for this interview," and they really went all out with what they're doing. But I mean, it depends on what the position is. Again, it's all dependent on what they're applying for. So it's a give or take kind of situation. But if you dress for the part, that's very important.
E-Dog.
Okay, I was not expecting that. Now I just want to mention, since you had mentioned earlier about things like attire and clothing and keeping things simple, I just want to add in for, depending on, I guess, who this would apply to, but for those who may like to wear jewelry or makeup and want to make an impression, I would suggest, like, let's say if they do things like earrings, something simple like studs, maybe not something too dangly, perhaps, or things like makeup, keep it either like nude or maybe light. Maybe something that gives just like a little bit of color, but nothing that really stands out.
Unless you're working at a unicorn factory, then you may want to wear some color.
Yeah. Like things like for bracelets, nothing that dangles too much that draws a lot of attention. Like for me, I like wearing Pandora charms sometimes, but those can be distracting, so that wouldn't be something I would probably wear to an interview, for example.
For sure, I think that's really important. Jewelry can really, and I'm going to throw this word out again, level up your outfit, your attire, your appearance. Jewelry is something that, whether it's feminine or masculine, either way, or if it's got, this androgynous type feeling to it, it doesn't matter as long as it's something that goes with your impression, your messaging, because you're selling yourself.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Maybe not anything like too big or distracting, just something just as small, I guess, that it may draw a little bit to the eye, but just not too much that's overly distracting.
The last thing that I want to bring up is interviewing the employer. When you're meeting with a potential employer, it's really important to think about that as a two-way conversation. Because yes, you are going for an interview to be interviewed, technically, but do you even want to be there? How do you know until you talk to them? Like, just like they're kind of sussing you out, you're kind of sussing them out too. Like, you want to figure out what's their culture like? What is this person who's interviewing me like? Is this a representative of the rest of the culture? Can I ask questions to this person? Because if you feel like the person interviewing you is giving you the third degree or not answering your questions, is that somewhere you even want to be? So just as important as their view of you, it's really more about your view of them. Is that a place you could see yourself going to and wanting to go back?
I mean, that's a great way of putting it, SF.
What are your thoughts on walking into an interview feeling like you're on a level playing field? How do you do that?
It's like a game of chess. You got to figure out, okay, you got to sort of play mind games a little bit, if you think about it, because you got to sort of, again, like you're saying, it's a two-way street. You got to go both ways on that conversation.
That does it for The Pulse. Thanks so much for listening, and tune in next week when we continue our conversation about getting you the job and making you the ideal candidate. Thanks for listening.